person has some nerve. I can tell that you're just using a for loop on a single line. How many functions do you really need inside of one application? Getting Asuka to bully me, woo-woo? Give me good code that works. What are we, first day in programming college class? All right, let's move on to our next algorithm. A variation of a genetic algorithm that sorts by repeatedly randomizing, mutating, parentheses, the array into a sorted state. Is that just a fancy way of saying sorting an array? You're not getting points for how many words you use inside of your comments. Just FYI. Each iteration is a new generation. Okay, I'm not reading all of that. That is just too much. Slow but fun. That's exactly what I want to hear when I'm looking at my sorting algorithm. Okay, 100 interesting. I'm going to change my mind. I am going to read this because this is really funny. 100 integers takes about 30 seconds. It slows to a crawl with a much larger array. So I think what needs to happen is the person who made this sorting algorithm and then the person who made the crazy threaded sorting algorithm need to get together and they need to have a fight and let's see who wins. We have one sorting algorithm that's going to take up all of the resources in your computer. We've got another that's going to probably take about 10 years if you give it 500 numbers. And then maybe if they made a sorting algorithm together, that could take up all of your resources for the next 100 years so that you can't even cancel the sorting algorithm because it is taking up all of your resources. All right, let's move on to this sort. I will give you props. Your tabs are nice. You copied my style, and my style is the right style. Pretty short, not too long. That's good. Now, what I'm going to give you is some advice. If you look at your program and you decide to use single letter variable names, you should question your own sanity, because this is not a good decision. When I write code, my variable names are so descriptive that you could probably turn them into a novel for every single variable name. I do not use single letters, so you get about, 10 points off for your variable names, even though I don't have a scoring system, but I will implement a scoring system just so I can reduce points from your code. Okay, merge sort. Variation of merge sort, I think. Non-recursive merge sort in memoriam of John von Neumann. Worst case time complexity is big O of n log n, space required is n. I'm pretty sure this is just regular merge sort. Yeah, I wanted you to make your own sorting algorithm, like you rewrote somebody else's. So yeah, I don't think you get any points for that. All right, this is some genius here. I provided this def sort, and it takes the array. Now what this person has done is they have taken my method of sort and added another method, only one single method call inside of this that is called merge sort. Now my question to you is, why? Why would you do this? Because you literally could have just put the code for merge sort inside of sort and then you wouldn't have had to have that extra function. So that gets like a lot of negative points. I'm gonna name all of my methods sort 1, sort 2, sort 3, sort 4, and then they're just gonna call only in one single line, sort, 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 and then I'm gonna fill up my code. And you know what? This is a genius idea because if I'm trying to increase the number of lines in my sorting file, and I'm trying to prove I have the most lines and I have put in the most time into this sorting algorithm, that is how I can do it. Because I'm technically using code, I'm just filling it with all of these different methods. Who's gonna fault me for that? So this person actually is a genius, I think. Same genius person, I think, because they are calling that single line method inside of their code. with a comment, bubble underscore sort underscore Laurie. That's not my name. I'm Asuka, but that's a really good name. If I look inside of your sorting function, cheat sort, I can tell that you're just using a for loop on a single line. Did you really think that I wouldn't notice that? That means that that print array function that I specified needed to be called after every single iteration of the loop is not going to be called until the very end. So yes, it looks like your code is running and just immediately sorting it, but that's because you're cheating. Now, granted, you did name it cheat sort, so maybe you knew that you were cheating, or maybe you thought that the sorting algorithm itself was cheating and you didn't even notice that you were only calling the print array after one iteration and doing the entire sorting loop. So let's just run this and see what happens. I know what's gonna happen. I think it's gonna work, but it's really cheating. Yeah, I know you didn't write that. Moving on. So I've got it up here. And of course it's in Rust. This is my very favorite programming language because we definitely need to have training wheels for our programmers going forward. If you are overriding your own process while you're running the application, you have to have the runtime environment to prevent you from doing this. Anyway, let's take a look. Okay, fn run, fn sort, fn worker. How many functions do you really need inside of one application? I gave you like one function called sort and one function called main, and you're giving me like 6 different functions inside of this one single sorting application. Does that say something about the language or say something about you as a programmer? Okay, anyway, where is your sorting function? Here it is. Okay, I finally found it. We're doing some kind of multi-threading. You know, sometimes I see those messages online where people say, if I'm not using 100% of my CPU and 100% of my RAM, then I am not using the full capabilities of my system. This sorting algorithm really takes that to the extreme. In order to use this sorting algorithm, I'm going to be using 100% of my computing ability. It's going to take up my entire CPU while it's executing. I think it maybe makes like 6,000 different threads so that it can sort your numbers as fast as possible. Is this good? Is this bad? I don't know, but it is. All right, let's move on. Now what this person is doing is they are spawning up a new thread for every single value that is inside of this list. So if I input like 2,000 values into this as testing digits, then that's going to spin up 2,000 different threads on my computer. Yeah, my laptop can definitely handle all of that just for your sorting algorithm. Let's actually run this and see what happens. Let me add in my Rust code. I had to install Rust on my system just to be able to run this challenge, so you're welcome. Oh my gosh, and you didn't even stick to all the functions that I gave, so you gave me all these extra ones. You know what I'm doing? It's not that crazy. I'm literally just copying and pasting the extra sort function into my code so that I can do this a million times. So now I have to paste in like 5 different functions. Thank you for that. Can't even find the main function in here. Oh, okay, you left it at the top. What are we, first day in programming college class? Well, I'm going to take your code and put it inside of here in the center, like it was before. You know what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and spin up Task Manager while this is running so I can see if I can find how much CPU you're using from my system. Let's run your code. Build errors. All right, I'm gonna give this about 30 seconds, and if I can't fix the build errors inside of here, then I'm moving on to the next one. So I clearly gave you functions that you needed to implement so that I could actually print them out and visualize them, and you failed to follow orders, so now I'm not gonna run your code. You didn't even give me the print array function that I defined. Finally, we have a Python submission that is not Rust. Now, it's not C++, which is probably a superior language, but I do enjoy Python because it's just so nice and quick to use. I don't have to compile anything. I don't have to spend 10 years installing Visual Studio because that just takes way too long. I just run Python and then my Python program, so I really appreciate this. Now let me look at your actual code. Russian roulette insertion sort. Okay, actually I like this. This is kind of, okay. Revolver equals random. So you're getting a random int. That's gonna be your revolver since this is Russian roulette, insertion sort. And then for our Russian roulette sort, if you get a bad number, then you have to start from the beginning again. That's honestly pretty funny. I will definitely give you credit for that one. That's like living on the edge. I like to live on the edge, especially inside of my sorting algorithms, because when it comes to stuff that doesn't need to be exact, that's where sorting algorithms fit. You know, important things like sorting integers when you're collecting moon data, or I don't know, new scientific findings, that's when you really don't care. If it's exact, it's okay. And if the runtime is just like one big question mark, that's even better, because who doesn't want their moon data to be entertaining as well as exact? My attempt at getting Asuka to bully me, ooh-woo? Ooh, woo, woo, woo. I have no idea what you're trying to say there. I think it's ooh-woo. Okay. Asuka-huli. Is he trying to say actually or Asuka-huli? I don't know, something cute here. List.sort implements the Tim sort, a combination of both merge sort and insertion sort. Okay, but your sorting algorithm is literally one line and it's using the default standard C++ library. I think your creativity is just about the creativity that a turtle would have if they were trying to create this sorting algorithm. Okay. The runtime is going to be excellent, but all credit has to go to Bill Gates or whoever implemented this sorting algorithm like 63 years ago. Moving on to the next submission. Also, your cuteness doesn't get you anything on here. I am judging this on the algorithms themselves. Another Rust submission. You guys really know my favorite language. You know, I've never even written in Rust before. I like to write stuff in C++, or C if I'm feeling really crazy. But I really personally, I don't need training wheels, just because I'm able to program. Just because I'm able to write a program that's not going to accidentally overwrite itself. It's not going to accidentally input a string that's too long. You know why? Because I'm good at it. Anyway. Okay. You gave me like the nice header of the name of the author and stuff like that. This code is for the LaurieWired 2023 Halloween Sorting Challenge. Enjoy! I do like the enthusiasm, that's very nice, makes me happy. You stuck to the function names, that's good. But your sorting function's kind of long. I think there's a fine balance between using the normal standard library sorting functions, but then just also not making your sorting function too long to where I get impatient when I'm reading it. Yeah, so fine line between there, but everybody needs to kind of find that line. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go through this. Really actually very pretty code. Very nicely commented. Maybe a few too many comments, but like one of those people who just says sorting algorithm inside of a function that's called sorting_algorithm. But you know, those people are okay. At least I would rather be more expressive than too little expressive. But I think you and then the person who named all their variable names with single letters need to talk to each other and find kind of a balance in between there. Because I think there's a good balance. Okay, breaking it up into 2 parts. That's pretty smart, pretty smart. Kind of boring though. You could have wowed me a little bit more with something crazy. But it's probably good. Next one. How many Rust submissions can I get? I think at this point it's like 60%. I mean, I know it's the latest meme language, but have you guys ever heard of C++? Rust's built-in sort. Oh. This person has some nerve. Not only do they give me Rust, they give me the built-in library sort that's part of Rust. And what I just learned, the name of Rust's built-in sorting method is just called sort. So my sort function that I defined, named sort, has another call to array.sort, which is going to be the sort method that is inside of the Rust standard library. Now, even though I really didn't want you to change my method names, in this case, you really should have changed my method name. This makes me think that you don't even know how to program, that you literally just copied this into ChatGPT and ChatGPT just gave you this answer, and you're like, I don't know how to change a function name, so I'm just gonna leave it here. What are references? What are method names? I don't know. It's good enough. I'm not even gonna run this one because I know the original Rust developers are perfectly capable of writing a good sorting algorithm. Well, maybe. But yeah, no creativity. Next one. Alright, I think we have the same submitter yet again. This person cared so much about their code that they submitted me an updated version of it. They thought, you know what, maybe I should make sure that I leave in a comment that I need to compile this specifically for an x64 operating system. Now, they didn't fix any of their variable names, they didn't fix any of their crazy pointers, but they gave me that extra comment. That is an important comment. That is totally worth an entirely new submission for. Now before you say anything, yes, I know my ribbon was missing, and yes, I did get a demerit at school, but it's there now, so I'm gonna keep on grading your sorting algorithms because you don't have to care about what my grade is. I get to grade you now. Okay, we have another C++ one. Kudos for that. It's very nice. I do have to say, you're using tabs for your spacing, and it looks kind of funky. Ooh, I get some ASCII art inside of here. Boo! Okay, that's really cute. You get like plus 100 points for that because that was really cute. Okay. Ooh, you added on to my terminal output for enter numbers separated by spaces. Now, unfortunately for you, I started hard coding all of my array numbers just because it was really annoying to enter them in every time, so I might not even see a really cute ghost, but yeah, it's there. I like it. Okay, let's see, main. What am I looking at? What am I looking at? Oh, you're one of those people who uses std::: in front of every single one. In a teeny tiny program that's not in production, you could have just said and entered using namespace std and I wouldn't have cared, but you know, each his own. Okay, hashtag define Windows OS is the best. Okay, now, I'm using Windows right now, and I'm not going to be using Arch Linux because I don't have 10 years to fiddle with my operating system and make it look perfect and make the font the exact kind of font that I want. I actually have real work to do, so I'm going to be using Windows to test all of this. So I just have to say that you make some great points in here, and I agree with you. And anybody who gets on me and tells me that you should be using Linux, you should be using this, I have real work to do, so I don't have time to fiddle with this right now. I know how to use Linux. You clearly can see me using Linux commands all the time. Clearly it's not a skill issue, it's a productivity issue. Okay, we're using some multi-threading. T-sort, sleep, something, sleeping and threading. Now you're implementing sleep sort, and I know you think you're so clever, but I actually saw that Reddit post too. Yes, it's really hilarious, but with my setup for my visualizer, I'm also using sleep to help visualize the iterations, so I'm completely going to break your sorting algorithm. However, your ghost ASCII art is pretty cute, so I'm still gonna run it anyway, so let's see how it goes. I'm gonna pull up my code, and by the way, I had to change one of your lines because it included a different version of C++, so Yeah, whatever, but it's the same thing. Oh, I even colored the ghost blue. That's so cute. All right, here we go. Yeah, something's wrong. I think you had a segmentation fault somewhere inside of here. Honestly, not sure if it's my implementation or your implementation, but you sorted like maybe a 20th of it? I guess it's better than 0. Note at the top, this sorting algorithm does not handle duplicates and negative numbers correctly. You need to have negative numbers. You need to use somebody else's sorting algorithm because we do not handle these cases. All right, perfect. Now this one's actually a really unique idea because they're using the exception of index error inside of Python to resize the temp array and fill it with value none if the index is not correct. Now, one thing to note is that while I like the idea and the runtime's not too bad, the actual space complexity is going to be big O of m, where m is the largest integer inside of the array that you're sorting. Now, let's say I use numbers 1, 3, 5, and 2007. Well, your array size is going to be 2007, even though you only have a few digits inside of your array. But I'll give you props for trying. It was pretty good. Okay, I have replenished my candy. Let's continue on to our responses. Okay, I have a C++ submission here. And we have an entire paragraph describing the sorting algorithm, and yet the sorting algorithm itself is like 7 lines long, and the braces are using the, I know this is called the Egyptian style, where the one brace opening is on the same line. What is the other one called? I don't remember. But anyway, the braces are taking up an entire line themselves, so that should tell you how big this sorting algorithm is. Ooh, and we have the time complexity. Big O of n squared, as always. I wasn't sure which algorithm to use, and because this is a Halloween sorting challenge, I wanted to pick an appropriate sorting algorithm. Okay. Since jack-o'-lantern sort, or ghost sort, doesn't exist, I felt like using one with a scary runtime is kind of cheap. I opted for gnome sort. Gnomes are scary? Are you like, I don't know, 5? I think I'm the size of a gnome. Are you afraid of me? Gnomes are scary. I don't think I find gnomes scary. Like if it was a roach or maybe the dark, I would find it scary, but gnomes? Maybe they're like evil looking gnomes that are green or something, I don't know. Okay, gnome sort, Wikipedia page, is a derivative of insertion sort and has the following time complexities. Okay, let me read through the code. If position equals 0 or array position is greater than equal to array at position minus 1, position plus equals 1. Otherwise, swap. I don't know why this is called gnome sort. Because it's short? I don't know if this really fits Halloween because gnomes, as I mentioned, are not really scary to most adults. Alright, next one. You know what? C++ is taking over now. At first it was mainly Rust submissions, but now the C++ people are winning out, and all of the remaining C++ submissions are towards the end, making me think that the people who wrote stuff in C++ really took their time to make their code quality, rather than just rushing and give me default Rust library code as their sorting algorithms. So nice job, C++ people, you win again. Okay, print, sparse. I have no idea what you're doing, honestly. Let's take a look at the comments. We use a sparse array implementation of array sort, allowing us to sort in big O of n. Of course, this isn't a computer science. Oh my gosh. Dude, your lines go on forever. What is the default number of characters that'll fit in one line? Isn't it like 250 characters and then you're supposed to go to the next line. Do you realize that not every comment needs to be in one single line? I can't even read this. Okay. We use sparse array implementation of array sort, allowing us to sort a big O of n. Of course, this isn't a computer science breakthrough, so hopefully you can spot the fallacy I make here. You hope. We'll see. Oh my gosh. Your lines are so long that it made me scroll off the page. If I can't even see your lines, I definitely can't see your fallacy. We carve up the 32-bit integer space as follows. First into 2 to the 16th parts, which are then split up into 2 to the 8th parts, and I'm bored already. Oh my gosh. Dude, I don't want to spot your fallacy. Why would you give me bad code? Give me good code that works. I'm not your teacher. I'm not going to go dive through all of your code and see if I can fix the one bit that you might be off on. I don't know. Gosh. Skipping for layer 1, skipping for layer 2. Okay, I'm bored. While your algorithm is surprisingly efficient running on big O of n time, you're still stuck using the C-style memory allocation and deallocation, or should I say lack thereof of deallocation, inside of your code. Have you ever heard of the new keyword? We're living in the 21st century. You realize you can code in C++ now, right? Also, I appreciate that you called out that you don't free memory. However, you wrote this in C++, and you're the one C++ submission that I say should have been written in Rust. You are the reason we have these additional memory protection languages necessary for all programmers going forward. Java. This is my first Java submission. Java's okay. You know, it's okay. Normal method names, okay. Big nitpick, you know. In Java, we don't use underscores to name our variables. You're supposed to use camel case. Now, also, you're using a mix between camel case and underscores, and that just really irritates me. I don't know. But your variable names are extremely descriptive, so I'll give you that. Get smallest value for this position is one method name, all separated by underscores. All you're doing is running selection sort. Did you really think that I wouldn't notice? This is just an iterative version of selection sort. You're going to be running on big O of n squared. Did you really think that I wouldn't notice that you put absolutely no imagination into this sorting algorithm? You probably just copied and pasted this from Stack Overflow and changed your variable names. It looks like my 2-year-old sister wrote this code. Next. I think maybe you guys were getting close to the deadline and getting kind of rushed because the quality of submissions is just going down. The first ones were like super creative. I think you guys need to make sure that when you're submitting code, you are not doing it late at night because you need to drink a few cups of coffee and program in the morning for the best, freshest, most creative experience. Because if you want to be featured on LaurieWired, you have to actually be wired and awake when you're writing your code. I'm wired right now. I've drank 6 cups of coffee today. That is the minimum wired experience. Oh, we've got a Go submission. Almost as bad as Rust, but not in fashion anymore. Okay. Wait, you gave me like 6 different sorting algorithms? Hold on. We've got insertion sort, but we've also got this quick sort. I do appreciate the optimizations. Your tabs are consistent, your comments are consistent, and you commented a decent amount, but not over the top. I do feel like you have the imagination of a turtle, but at least you produce a pretty efficient, fairly stable sorting algorithm, and it's probably a lot more stable than a lot of the crazy ones that I've seen, so you get some points for that. So at best, you're probably running at about big O of n log n, but at worst, you could go down to big O of n squared. Somebody gave me a submission in Perl. Somehow I knew I was going to get at least one submission in Perl because somebody really thinks that they're built different. Ooh, I'm I am too good to use Python. I'm too good to write mine in C++. I've got to use Perl, even though no application has been written in Perl in like decades. You know, Perl doesn't even name their functions function, they name them subroutine. This is kind of like IDA, but I'm not used to looking at that inside of a programming language. I'm used to looking at that when I'm reversing code. Honestly, looking at your code, there's absolutely no justification to be using Perl right here. You could write this in any other language and it would be exactly the same and run exactly the same. But you had to look super, super cool to try and impress me so that you would stand out as the only Perl submission. However, you're not even using anything that's specific that would justify it. I'm gonna give you like minus 50 points for that. Creativity definitely slipped the later on submissions. Yeah, you're using C++, your code is fine. But where's the imagination? You're just giving me radix sort? I could Google that. I guess you get a neutral score. I don't really give you plus or minus points. Okay, so now we're moving on from legitimate submissions. Let's move on to those people who either didn't read the instructions or submitted late. Now this person decided to create a new pull request from my code, which, by the way, my code is already perfect. It doesn't need any new code inside of it. And you completely ignored the instructions that said send a gist file, and if you don't know how to create a gist file, here's how to create a gist file. Let's take a look at the pull request. Not only did you forget to read the instructions, but you also just gave me generic quicksort. I really, really want to paste this code and find it in Stack Overflow. So next time that you are entering a challenge, make sure you read the instructions or else you might not actually be able to participate. This person has not heard of new lines. Now, they submitted late and had to send it to me in a different format and also missed the gist format, and then they didn't give me any new lines. And I have some weird locking and multi-threading going on here. If you're gonna be sorting all of your numbers, you probably don't need to use threading. I think everybody thought, I'm gonna be different. I'm built different. I'm gonna use threading inside of my application. And yet, I've gotten like 7 submissions that all use threading. So let me tell you, you are not built different. You are built like everybody else. Now we have another genius here who found the same Reddit post that uses sleep as a sorting mechanism, as well as multi-threading like so many others who thought they were being so clever inside of this. However, this submission appropriately uses atomic booleans and locks to make sure that they're not stepping on their own toes while they're sorting this, and I think that's really good programming in practice. So yet again, we have another big O of M sorting time. So in theory, you could be running with a good time complexity, but if I start feeding you some crazy numbers, you're just gonna start getting some really bad timing.
I didn't even get it on.
If I balance it and I